What's up guys, it's Matt from TDM Style here. Welcome back to the channel, and this week we are finally here to do an updated blow drying tutorial. So this is a video that you guys have been requesting for a while now, and I agree, it's been way too long since I've done one of these, so I'm really excited. So we're going to be going through step by step my current blow drying routine that I use to go from this no to something a little more like this. Now, in case anybody wants to know, because I do tend to get questions about like what brushes I'm using, both of these are from this brand La Marca, which I don't think exists anymore because I can't find them anywhere. But this is their Ergo paddle brush, and this is their Ergo ceramic round brush, and it's 2.5 inches in diameter. Now, before we get started in the tutorial, I just want to say quickly that this shirt today was provided by Trendy Butler. As always, this is an unpaid feature. I don't get anything from it, but once in a while they do send me some nice clothes. So if you're interested in checking them out, I do have a discount code for you down below that can save you a few bucks off your first box. Now, with all that being said, let's move the camera in closer and get to blow drying this bitch. Alright, so here we are. We're starting out with freshly washed hair. Obviously, it's wet as hell right now. We are like straight out of the shower, so before it starts dripping down my face, the first thing you're going to want to do is gently towel dry a little bit. Also, apologies for this right here. This is just my little tabletop mirror that I need to do this, so sorry I just couldn't get it totally out of frame. Now, the important thing when you're towel drying is don't go in with the towel and like just vigorously go nuts. Do not do that. Your hair is technically at its most fragile state when it's wet, so you want to just gently pat and squeeze the excess moisture out of your hair, because if you're roughing it up in there with the towel, it's just abrasive, and that is just going to lead you down a road to more frizziness and flyaways and potential, you know, if your hair is fragile, you could like be breaking stuff off in there and whatever, so just be gentle. Alright, so now we're a little bit closer to damp rather than wet, so what I like to do next is just go through with a comb just to get through any potential knots or anything. So I don't particularly know why, but I always like to comb it all forward first and then flip it and comb it all back. Alright, now it's time to go in with your pre-styler of choice. And now, while you don't technically have to use any pre-styling products before blow drying, I 1000% recommend it because it's just going to make your life easier. So depending on what type of hair you have and what type of result you're going for, you have a lot of options. And yes, for those of you who are overly concerned about heat protection, adding a pre-styler will help with that as well. So if you're a person like me and you have a coarse, wavy, and therefore naturally drier hair type, I probably 75 to 80% of the time go in with some type of smoothing, defrizzing, moisture adding solution. So like 25 spray remains a favorite of mine. That shit is just fucking magical. Got stuff like grooming oils from this one from Dauntless is particularly great, or you know, other type of smoothing lotions and things. So we've got like the Electric Rain moisture cream from Xmondo, the Moroccan oil smoothing lotion is another great one. Now if you've got finer hair and you want to, instead of smoothing, you want to add some texture, you want to build some volume, you've got kind of the other end of the spectrum of products. So we've got things like the Amity texture spray from Sheer Revival. This stuff is just bonkers good. And then you've got other texturizing things and volume adding things like mousses or sea salt sprays. And then we have this kind of middle type of product that's somewhere between a smoothing agent and a texturizing volumizing thing. So we've got stuff like the Xmondo Glitterati serum, which is, you know, it's like a smoothing serum, but it's got some grip and hold to it, so it adds a little bit of texture and like a light hold. And we also have stuff like the new blow dry cream from Crafted. I've been using this a lot lately to test this out, and yes, a review is coming soon. So these, and there are plenty of others out there as well, but there are these kind of products that just kind of, to me, kind of bridge the gap between the smoothing end of things and the texturizing end of things. Now, I've been liking these kind of middle-of-the-road products a lot lately, so today we're going to go in with a little bit of the Crafted Blow Dry Cream. I don't need much of this, basically just like a half a pump. And of course, you know, how much product you need, regardless of what type of product it is going to depend on how much hair you have and, you know, basically just experimentation. So I'm gonna, oh, it smells so good. All right, so I'm just gonna go in with my hands and just work this through. Oh God. Now I'm just gonna go through with a comb again just to make sure that that product is nice and evenly distributed and that my hair has a nice even coating of it. All right, now it's time to start with the blow dryer, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, don't be afraid of high heat. As long as you use this thing properly, you're not gonna damage your hair. So we're going in high heat, high speed. Now, I always like to start by rough drying my hair first, so I'm just gonna be going through quickly with my fingers and basically just using this to remove all the excess moisture and get my hair to the point where it's at least like half or better, about 3/4 of the way dry. The main reason for that is when you're doing styling with a brush and stuff, it's really not going to set and take until your hair is basically totally dry already anyway, so there's no reason to start straight away with a brush or a comb or whatever when your hair is still like totally wet. All right, heat in. All right, so clearly we are looking snatched right now. So at this point my hair is about, I would say about 75% dry, so here is where you're gonna wanna start going in with your hairdryer and your styling brush. So what I've been doing lately, I've been starting out with a paddle brush and kind of using a little bit of a derivation of the flat wrapping technique that's like really picked up in popularity lately since like Andrew Does Hair and Bluemon did those videos. I mean, the flat wrap technique has been around for years, but it's just seemed to gain popularity lately, and I have found for me, this section of hair back here, I have a cowlick that likes to flop out this way when I really want it to go the other way, and I found that starting out with the paddle brush and really kind of hammering this section for a little while to really force my hair to go the other way just works a lot easier, and then I have to do less work with the round brush for the end styling. So going through with the paddle brush, I really just like to hammer that cowlick area for at least a good 30 to 45 seconds until I can tell that it's basically going to stay where I want it. And after that, I just like to brush everything all the way from the left side over to the right, following right along that brush with the blow dryer. And then flip everything back over and blow it all from the right back to the left. And all that this does is basically start the smoothing and straightening process and just get everything into a nice prepped state before I go in with the styling round brush. All right, so after having basically taken care of that back cowlick section and having brushed everything from one side to the other and back again, now I'm ready to go in with my round brush for the final styling. And at this point, my hair is totally dry, and that's okay. That's what you're looking for. So, your hair is still hot at this point. It's still retaining that heat, and that's good because that means things are still malleable. And now when you do your round brush styling, your hair is going to listen to you. So what I like to do is brush everything forward and just to the side so that it's not impeding my vision. And now we're gonna start in with the round brush, and we're still using high heat and high speed at this point. And basically we're gonna start from the back, and we're gonna take small sections of hair and just work from the back slowly forward until we finally get to the front, and that's what we're gonna end up doing at the very last step. So the main thing here is just try to use small sections, because if you have too much hair on the brush, basically if you're using a section that's any wider than the barrel of the brush, it's too much hair and it's just gonna be too much to try to control, and it's just gonna be difficult. So if you have a lot of hair and you need to keep some out of the way, you can use like a little alligator clip just to keep the front down and out of your way. But I've been doing this for so long now that I don't really need to do that, and I can usually manage to grab small enough sections without clipping it. So essentially what I'm gonna be doing here is grabbing a section of hair with the brush, pulling it, rotating it backwards to pull it taut, and then we're gonna be blow drying right along the brush while pulling the hair to keep it taut and nice and straight. And then you'll see me spin the brush to go back down to the root, and we'll go over that same section a few times until I can tell that it's like smoothed out and straight enough, and then we'll just finish pulling the brush through and move on to the next section. And just rinse and repeat until we're totally done. Now, when you're pulling the hair taut with the round brush, basically for the majority of my head, I'm pulling the hair basically perpendicular up from my scalp. So basically straight up in the air. And that just, number one, makes it easy to see what I'm doing, so I can see that once I've straightened out the sections enough. And also it helps to just make the hair want to go that way, so it helps to build in that volume. And I do that basically all the way through my head until I get to the very front, at which point I like to pull the hair really just kind of forward, like straight forward. So I turn to the side here to try to get you a view of that. And I like to do that for a few passes, and then once I feel that that section of hair is straightened out enough, I take the final pass and just basically blow it straight up and back. Whew, yeah, now we are looking actually snatched. So now obviously everything is basically done, and as a last step I do always like to go in either with the cool shot button or just turn the heat all the way down so it's cold air and just go over everything with my fingers. And basically all that's going to do is close up your hair cuticle and really just kind of lock the style into place. And now you don't have to do this, you can just let it cool off naturally. It'll take about 20 minutes or so. But I like to just do it with the hairdryer just because then I know that that style is going to be set. I don't have to wait around and it's just easier. Alright, so now we are totally done with the drying process, and actually I forgot to mention also that doing the cold air at the end can also help to add a little bit of natural shine as well. So yeah, at this point we can see I'd say we're looking pretty good, even with my hair being as long as it is. We've got some pretty decent volume worked in, everything is nice and smooth, and most of it is pretty straight. You know, I've still got this little very stubborn cowlick area in the front here that you probably saw me hammering away at for a while. That's typical for me. But I've got it pretty much into the style that I rock on a daily basis. So at this point, I've got a light hold from the pre-styler we put in, so I could leave it like this if I wanted it to be very flowy and natural all day. Ooh, e-boy look, yes. But, you know, right now, I'm going to want to set this into place, so now is the time to go in with whatever post styler you want to use. So today I'm going to go in with a little bit of this Tropics matte clay from Gerson & Company. This is something that I got in recently, so I've been testing it out for the past few days and been enjoying it. You know, just about a little bit more than a dime-sized amount. And now I like to start by brushing it all back, or forward I mean, then back. Alright, and here is the final look, so I'm pretty happy with this. So you can see my stupid back cowlick area is pretty well contained and not flopping out this way. Things are pretty well smooth and straightened out, although I've still got a little bit of that kind of natural waviness in there, which I enjoy. And yeah, that is about it. Alright, so there you have it, folks. That is my current blow drying routine that I use on the regular, and it works great, and it doesn't take that long, especially with the Dyson hairdryer. Like, I'm not kidding, that fucking thing has been life-changing. It definitely dries my hair way faster than a traditional dryer used to, so I would say, you know, when I'm not like filming and breaking it down, of course, just like my daily routine, the entire blow drying and styling process from start to finish probably takes me anywhere from 10 to maybe 15 minutes max. It's really not bad. So that wraps things up for today's video, guys. I hope that you enjoyed this. I enjoyed making it. This was fun, and I definitely want to do some more of these. Please be sure to stay tuned to the channel. I have so many products to review and so much more content coming, as always. So if you haven't already, please do hit that subscribe button down below to keep up to date with everything. And as always, thank you guys so much for coming by and watching. And we'll see you at the next one.